Hey, Bougie Gang. Happy Monday. What's going on, everybody? Oh, what's everybody doing for lunch? I haven't had any lunch. I haven't had any breakfast, but we're not going to talk about that. Hi, friends. What's going on? I was just watching Sunday Lip Service. Real? Okay, Pam Pam. Okay. Uh-oh, I forgot to put the shout out. My bad. I'm so tired. Girl, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of that little tiny chat. I want to write StreamYard a letter and say, just forget it. Like, what are you doing? Can you just go ahead and forget about it? Because if it's that small, we don't need it. Who's reading that? It's so little. Can y'all fix that, please? My God. Okay. Can y'all fix that little type? That little type? Could you have found a type any smaller? Girl, need some Sonya readers for those, right? Oh, I forgot my my new. Okay. I did I told you guys about this. I linked it. I'll link it again. I'll link it again today. I think it's called Gloss Bomb. And this one's called Tulip Kiss. Love it. Okay. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. I had such a happy birthday and you guys did that. Thank you so much. I had a nice low key, very quiet, very grown and sophisticated. We got to go out to dinner. We went out to dinner with Farah and then we went out to dinner just us. So that was nice. Farah didn't want to hang out with old mom and dad. She's getting like, no. But yeah, she didn't want to go out with old mom and dad. So we got a chance to actually do us for the first time in probably 15 years since I got pregnant. Bougie Gang, your lunch is ready. Hi guys, what's going on, everybody? Honey, say that. Bonding out since 2022, baby. Jay Blake, you guys got here 1, 2, 3 first. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys. Let's see. What's for lunch, guys? Happy Monday. What's going on? Hey, Muffin. Jackson, Tabasco. What's up, Shaylin? What's going on, Beverly? I am Coco, Keonce, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? Hi, Vicky. What's going on, everybody? So some of you guys were watching Sunday Lip Service. Okay, yesterday Sunday Lip Service was I read the transcript from the Erica King debacle. For me it did resonate after reading it because I was so excited that there was court. I was excited that something was happening. I was excited that there was action. I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I saw the final charging document. But as far as the discourse back and forth, it was interesting to actually read it, right? Just got back from Chinese food. Just got back from getting Chinese food. Very good. Oh, yesterday I had remember I was telling you guys about the fried fish? I got muhara. Any of you guys? I got muhara. I don't know what it is. It might be, I don't know what kind of fish it is, but they call it muhara frita at the Mexican place. So good. Like a whole fish, and they just score it. It's got the skin on it. They probably, like when you watch those ASMR videos and they drop fish or something in like a wok of super duper hot oil, like burn your, you know what I mean, like hot oil. That's probably the technique. Anywho, okay, happy Monday. It was so good. Jalapeno cheddar, sourdough, grilled cheese. That sounds super fancy and perfect for bougie gang. Absolutely. Hey Fran, hey extra, hey boo. Shawana, what's up? Okay. Trying to say hi. I'm just gonna give a blanket. Hi, everybody. Ear, nose, and throat doctor. We've got an ENT in the house. Any questions? Immediately I'm thinking it's fall allergy season. I probably sneezed like 10 times in a row yesterday. It came in as soon as my birthday's over. It's the sneezing. Let the sneezing begin until about November. I don't know what it is. They say, is it, I don't know if it's ragweed or what, but girl, I'm just like, my God. Um, okay, let's see. I wonder if Nesto ever sits and thinks about how Sonia has really messed him up, not to mention losing Shirley. I wonder if Nesto ever sits and thinks about how Sonia has really messed him up, not to mention losing Shirley. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if he cares about losing Shirley. Like, let's be real here. I don't think if he cared about his wife and he cared about losing her, he wouldn't have been doing the things to lose her. You know what I'm saying? Ask any man who's ever been caught cheating and regrets it because she decided to move on. They know exactly what they were doing to make that occur. Sometimes you just take people for granted and all of those things, but I don't know. I don't think he wanted Shirley anymore. I think he was banking on Sonia being something and turned out she was a big loser. So I think that's what happened, unfortunately. He acts like he was the prize, if you ask me. I don't know if look, he might think he's the prize. I just think, and I guess we're gonna probably say the same thing, we're just saying it differently. What I think is that he's a selfish man and he doesn't care about anybody but himself. He's not interested in love and relationships and having a wife. He wants someone who can further his pockets and who can help him because he's a fucking bum. Okay? He's a bum. There are some men out here who think they're the prize. I don't know that Nesto is one of them, like in the prize category of like, I'm a fly type dude. I got it going on. I got money. I got sex. I got this. I got that. He's a con man who needs women to further what he wants to have along. He's a bum. He is a straight up con man bum, and he looked okay. It wasn't like he was damn Philip Michael Thomas. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Tyson Beckford. He's not beautiful specimen of a man. He's just a tall, lanky dude. You know what I mean? I just don't think he cared. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he was giving off, I'm that nigga. He was giving off, give me the money. He was, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, we can get into that conversation. I mean, it's an interesting conversation. And maybe we're saying the same thing two different ways. I just think that Nesto is a selfish man who does not care about women. He doesn't care about having a wife. He doesn't care about relationships. He just wants a partner in crime. And I think he thought he was going to find that in Sonia, and Sonia is not it. You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, let's get into it. We have a sponsor, and let's get into our sponsor. And let me run this, guys. Okay, let me see. I have some amazing information to share with you guys today about what I've been using to help with my hyperpigmentation, help me get over the recent situation that I had in my scalp, and a wonderful body butter that I absolutely love. It's just making a difference in my skin as being someone who also suffers with eczema and dry patches. It's keeping my skin super hydrated, moisturized, all of the things. I'm talking about TTP Body. There are 2 body butters that are absolutely amazing. This one is almost empty. This one is called Kissed by an Angel Body by Young. I highly recommend both of these. They are highly moisturizing. Keep your hands pretty much soft, moisturized, and even after you wash your hands, you still kind of feel the moisture and the oils working in your hands. These I absolutely highly recommend. They smell amazing and absolutely love them. They have a wonderful hair serum. TTP Body reached out to me maybe around the time that I had the incident with my scalp. Those of you who know. But I had a scalp irritation. Oil really did make a difference. It's refreshing. You can smell the herbs. It moisturized my scalp. I ended up having to take some antibiotics, and it really helped the situation. It moisturized my scalp. It was something natural. I didn't have to worry about a bunch of chemicals. I tried to keep my scalp super clean, super hydrated, and just the properties of the oils definitely did something to enhance just kind of the overall feel of my hair and also the shine. I feel like it does provide a beautiful shine, and I feel like it's made a difference. Also, the last thing, and even just one of the most important things that I've been using, is the face mask. The face mask is totally customizable, natural ingredients. It's so refreshing, and you can customize your mask yourself. You can use spring water, you can use apple cider vinegar, you can make a thick mask, you can make a looser consistency mask, you can make a heavy application, you can make a small batch if you're just trying to treat an area. It comes in the form of a powder, and you use the powder with a wooden spoon, and you get your mixing bowl, bamboo, anything other than something metal. And it has definitely helped me with acne, hyperpigmentation, and just overall skincare, self-care, health for my face. I'm gonna leave a link. There also is a code for Bougie Gang. It's Bougie10, and you will get 10% off of your order at TTP Body. They are amazing. A woman-owned, Black female-owned, handcrafted cosmetics beauty company providing curated collection of amazing products that I think that you guys would absolutely love. So let me know. I hope that you guys will try it out, and then let me know what your experience is down in the comments. I'll see you later, guys. Bye. All the information you need to place your order with TTP Body is on the screen and in the description box. I hope you enjoy these amazing products as much as I do. Make sure to let the girls know over at TTP Body that I sent you. Take care, guys. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at all that beautiful melanin popping. Absolutely beautiful and so nice to work with. And I'm really enjoying their products. So I hope you guys will go ahead, click on the link, go check it out. They have a wonderful website, and it's really almost like a community of like wellness and sisterhood and self-care. So go check them out, even just to browse, but definitely check out their products and engage that code Bougie10 for your 10% off. Okay. So yes. Yes, please do. Please do. So yeah, you guys have been asking like what I've been using, and I have used the mask. The mask is really nice. Farah is the one who really got me into masks. Farah loves those paper Korean masks. And whenever I have anything like mask related, she's always trying it. Oh, thank you, Bon Bon Bon. Thank you. You're so sweet. You guys are also such dolls. I love it. Yes. Thank you, boo. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. If you click on that, she has a whole community over there. Lots of information, wellness, everything, of obviously, of course, the products and their definitely waiting for Bougie Gang to come through and experience some of their beautiful body butters, the hair oil, and the masks. But yeah, Farrah got me into the mask. But once I really kind of got the hang of mixing the mask and also sometimes just spot treating, I love it. And it's so refreshing. So anyway, let's get into it, guys. There's been so much going on. Last week was in shambles. Okay. I'm not going to get into too much about everything that happened. You guys know what's happened in the country. We don't need to get into all that, but there was some shenanigans going on of another church variety. There was another large mega church that got raided, and it's pretty popular here. I don't want to say just the South, but I feel like it's a lot of the churches are located here in the South, in the Southern region, because we have a plenty here in Charlotte. And it's called the House of Prayer. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Girl, last week was rough all over. Okay. It was rough. I could imagine, because not even just because of the United States, but I could just imagine just everywhere. Yeah. The ripple effect. You know what I mean? So if we're having it bad, other people are having it bad. The world was having, girl, baby. They came through and arrested almost everybody. Okay. I remember learning about the House of Prayer when I first moved down here to Charlotte. I worked with about 3 people who belonged to different House of Prayer churches, but they all went to House of Prayer, and very, very, very nice people. But very, not even but, and committed to their church. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know anything about it until I started hearing, you know, they actually, any of my Charlotte people, because I used to go to University Park when University Park was over off of Betty's Ford Road. Anybody in Charlotte, I'm talking to you. When University Park, back in the day, um it used to be located off of Betty's Ford Road. Well, I guess it still is, but right there at 85, right? You know where I'm talking about, over by Food Lion. Anyway, there's a House of Prayer right there. And there's House of Prayer everywhere. You know them from New York. They're everywhere. I didn't know anything about it I was raised in New Jersey. I didn't know anything about it, but baby, they came through. So let's get into it, guys. Um Let's see. Let's get into it. They have a 46-page federal indictment. They are taking down they arrested 8 people, and it's pretty bad. Okay. And they're calling it a cult. I've heard people quietly call it like there were always whispers of people calling it a cult. And I don't know. When I think, I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I do remember working with 3 people once upon a time, and they were all really nice ladies, and I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know that they used to have to sew. I'm gonna just use the word sew. They used to sew a lot of money into their church. They used to do a lot of missionary work, and they dedicated a lot of time to being at their church, and they also came to work. Okay. Okay. Yes. So what I know about them is that they were very nice people. The people that I knew personally, but I never went and visited the church. I knew they had a marching band, and occasionally they would march down Betty's Ford Road, and there were always some quiet whispers. That's what I'm gonna say. There was always some sort of whispers about it, but baby, as far as these details that they're saying, I'm in shock. So let's see what's going on here, so we can get some awareness, because this might be news to the people of the House of Prayer. The House of Prayer, the people who frequent and are members, this could all be a shock to them. They may have no idea what the law says was actually going on. Let's see. Okay, here we go. There we go.
Details for you now after that FBI raid at a home in Westlake. It was in connection with an investigation into the House of Prayer. The Department of Justice says 8 people got indicted on 26 charges for fraud schemes and tax matters. That includes the founder of the House of Prayer, Rony Denis, who lives in that home and was taken into custody yesterday morning. He's down in the Jefferson County Jail. And today, more information from the FBI about this whole thing. They had a news conference. Graham Lee was there. He's live at the federal courthouse in Augusta now. Graham?
I was trying to find the news conference, but you guys know what happened last week. All hell broke loose. And when I say all hell broke loose last week. And baby, we hadn't heard. I mean, it was like, oh wow, that happened. I had no idea, because baby, it was 1 to 2 stories running the whole week. There was no other news. That all news was blocked. Yes.
Well, Brad, that press briefing wrapped up a couple
Well,
of
yes, they said on the indictment it's FNU, so first name unknown. You guys, I have a funny story about FNU, LNU. I'll tell you about it when we get to that, but you guys are gonna laugh at me. But yeah, they feel like he stole that name.
Hours ago, we heard from several officials at the national and local levels. We weren't allowed to ask any questions, but we did get some important new details and information about the investigation from the FBI, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division.
The indictment represents the culmination of years of investigative work.
Court documents show the FBI has been looking into the House of Prayer founder, Rony Denis, since as early as July 1983. Damn. 3 years ago, FBI agents raided the House of Prayer churches in Hinesville and Hephzibah as part of a fraud investigation. Investigators allege that church leaders manipulated members into turning over personal information, pressured arranged marriages, and forced them to live in properties that generated rental income for the defendants. Officials say some of those victims are veterans across the district.
The House of Prayer operators exploited veterans and their families by accessing VA funds for their own enrichment.
We will aggressively pursue anyone who attempts to exploit the trust and confidence and the sacrifice that our service members have put.
I could be wrong, but once upon a time, I'm going to say in the late 90s, it probably was the late 90s. One, or maybe it was all of them, they had like an apartment complex. So when they were saying something about the real estate, I was like, I feel like they had an apartment complex and you could rent, if you were a member, you could rent one of their units, but they only rented to their members. And I don't know if it was like affordable housing or, whatever it was. But yeah.
Put towards and earn some of these benefits that unfortunately have been
they
targeted
said they've been
and
investigating him
exploited.
since 1983. That's a long time.
Then Wednesday morning, agents raided Denis's Westlake home in Columbia County. He's now facing several charges, including conspiracy to commit bank fraud, aiding in the filing of a false tax return.
Look at this house. It looks like the country club. Do you see this? It looks like you just pulled up to the country club. Does it not? That house is beautiful. Nice and crispy. That beautiful roof line. It looks like the damn golf. It looks like the main building at the golf club.
And conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Look at the yard.
The FBI says they're now turning this investigation towards helping more victims. And
if that's what the front looks like, the back probably extends out. So it might be, what I mean? God only knows. It's giving at least 10,000 square feet.
Bringing them justice.
Your voice matters.
It's giving 10,000. Yeah,
reporting your experiences
nice. Yes.
may help us uncover the scope of harm and hold all those responsible accountable. It takes exceptional courage to come forward, and we recognize that.
Girl, it's the golf quality landscaping for me. You can tell that a mile away. I mean, I live in North Carolina. You can spot a nice lawn. They don't play about yards. You know what I mean? If you live in golf communities and stuff like that, the yard is they're
And
putting
the
some
FBI
money
and our
down.
partners will do everything we can
Playing
to
with
protect
God's
your man
money.
endeavor.
Yes.
In order to report those crimes,
Heard Brian Osden there, and that is exactly his point. The next part of this investigation for the FBI is to help the victims that have been impacted by the actions of the House of Prayer. So if you feel like you are a victim in this case, they're encouraging you to contact investigators. So for ways to find out how to do that, we have that info.
They're looking for victims, guys. So for people who think it's weird for law enforcement to put out a statement and then ask for any potential victims to step forward, it's not weird. It's not out the way. It doesn't mean they don't have a case. They just want to make sure that anybody who needs help or anyone that has information, anyone who has a grievance or feels that they have been wronged, come forward, let us know, and we're going to see if we can help you, because we got them folk in jail. Okay, we got them folk under indictment now. So if you have any information, just holla at us. We'll be happy to help you.
Information on our website, wjbf.com. On our website, you'll
It's
also
not weird, right, Jay Blake?
find the full list of indictments for everyone involved in this case as well. Live in Augusta, Graham Lee, WJBF News Channel 6.
Live in Augusta. Okay.
Yeah, the first thing that she and another former member that I spoke to on the phone told
Look
me.
at this beautiful house. Look at that. Isn't that called a whatever that is? Is it a portico? Look at that. That's like what they have at the White House. Outside of the residence. So when you drive up, you don't get wet. You're shielded from the sun. Look at that. That's a beautiful house.
Yeah, the first thing that she and another former member
Look,
that I spoke
house,
to on the
they've
phone
got
told me
two
was that
different.
they're relieved to see him
Look at
behind
that.
bars. They also
House
gave a
back
window into
there,
the reality
probably a
of the
pool
people
house.
living the crimes the FBI indictment alleges. Janessa Pappas Wright says she was a member of the House of Prayer Church in Hinesville, Georgia.
They went off of the King James Bible, but they just their interpretations were very demonic and evil, and they just used it to manipulate and steal from people.
She tells me she left the church led by Rony Denis in 2017. Today, Denis's mansion in Westlake was raided by the FBI, and the FBI unsealed a 26-count indictment. Janessa has her own thoughts on the raid.
I think people think of it as just like, oh yeah, he needs to go to jail, and oh yeah, the real estate fraud, but it's much, much deeper and scarier than that, in my opinion.
Janessa tells me she saw Denis and the 7 other defendants preach and work for decades, and that the FBI's report of their alleged control and manipulation of members of the church only scratches the surface.
They had given themselves over to him, and they were totally brainwashed. You're scared to do things because you feel like you might die.
The FBI indictment says the church used VA benefits to illegally pay for their Bible seminary, an amount that reached $23.5 million. Vanessa says she took part in that Bible seminary and never got a degree.
That I was in that Bible college for 9.5 years, and I was promised a degree, a theology degree, and 9.5 years later, I'd never got one.
The document released today shows many illegal dealings within the House of Prayer Church. Janessa says she lived them.
I do hope that Denis doesn't just walk free, because he's an evil, evil man, and I think it goes much deeper and darker than people realize.
And I did go to the Assembly of Prayer Christian Church in Hephzibah, which was one of Denis's churches. They did not give a comment.
It kills me how when they go to people's houses or they go to the business and go knock on the door for a comment, you know they're not giving a comment.
FBI agents swarming a Columbia County home in the gated neighborhood of Westlake. Tonight, we've learned the raid is connected to the House of Prayer and serious allegations that the group is a cult scamming veterans out of benefits. The FBI says this scheme involves identity theft, false tax returns, and a trail of crime going back decades. Thanks for joining us as we continue to follow this breaking story. I'm Zaina Halliburton. Tonight, the leader of the House of Prayer, Rony Denis, is in custody connected to an FBI raid on his mansion in the Westlake neighborhood. His charges include conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and aiding and assisting in filing a false tax return. We're told Rony Denis isn't even his real name, but an identity he stole in 1983, according to federal authorities. The U.S.
How old is he? 1983? I mean, damn. You think he's got to be at least 60-ish. He's got to be in his 60s or maybe close to 70. You know, some people take a class or two a year. They're not on that like, oh, let me take 4 or 5 credits. You know what I'm saying? They're like, some people take, gotta stop. Some people take a class a year. You know what I mean? Maybe she was just like, you know, I just want to learn. You know how some people, they just want to learn. They're not on the fast track because they're relying on it for a career. If she had veterans benefits, she might have just been like, you know.
Department of Justice says Denis is one of 8 House of Prayer leaders charged in various fraud schemes and tax charges. In the meantime, your Liz Owens is live for us in the newsroom. Liz, just in the last few hours, you got your hands on Denis's.
Do you see the faces she was making? Hold on.
Charged in various fraud schemes and tax charges. In the meantime, your Liz Owens is live for us in the newsroom. Liz.
Oh yeah, they got raided by the FBI, and there is a whole entire federal indictment. I'm going to read to you guys the narrative, and I've got the indictment. We'll see if you guys want to get into it. Yeah, I've got all of it. I just wanted to play a couple of news stories first so we could get a feel for what's going on. It's the expression on Liz's face for me back in the newsroom. Like, she's looking like, well, damn. Hey, Miss Principal. Hey, boo. What's going on, sis?
Just in the last few hours, you got your hands on Denis's indictment. What new details do you have for us?
Well, according to the indictment, 8 church leaders committed these crimes by targeting military members and exploiting them for their benefits. The indictment also describes cult-like behavior, arranging marriages and divorces, humiliating members they perceived as rule breakers, and prohibiting family members from talking to loved ones who left the church.
A 7-bedroom.
What is the problem with looking at the camera? Like, it's giving... My bad. Let me stop.
Members from talking to loved
ones
her do her
who
job.
left
The church.
A 7-bedroom, 8-bathroom estate listing price $1.96 million, raided by the FBI Wednesday morning. The mansion on Honors Way is located in the gated community of Westlake. Divorce documents tie the name Rony Denis to this address. According to an indictment just unsealed by the feds, the leader of House of Prayer stole the name in 1983 and used it to become an American citizen.
How did he steal the name? He must have stole it from a dead person.
In 2002. The same year, he founded the House of Prayer Christian Churches of America. You might remember that the feds raided several of the churches in 2022, including the church in Hetzibah. Fast forward 2 years, and now Denis, along with 7 other leaders of the religious organization, are named in an indictment which accuses them of exploiting military personnel by recruiting them into the church, directing them to enroll in the church's seminary, and then using their VA benefits to funnel money into accounts controlled by the church. The indictment goes on to describe how leaders maintained a list of ex-traitors humiliated members for perceived rule violations.
That's good to
how
know.
The leaders
Thank you,
restricted
Tessie.
family members from contacting their loved ones who left the church. The feds say the 8 also committed bank fraud by using straw buyers to seize homes, which they then converted into rental properties, collecting more than $5 million in rent in just 2 years.
So all those.
So Daddy Grace is International House of Prayer. And then this House of Prayer is this, look at this lady. You can't even do a freeze frame on her. I understand what you mean. So you guys, just make note that there are two, I mean, there could be several, who knows. There's House of Prayer, which specifically they're talking about this guy, this person, Ronnie Gibson, who may not even be his, excuse me, Rony Denis, who this may not even be his real name, versus the International House of Prayer. And I feel like the people that I knew, that I worked with, were maybe from the International House of Prayer. So yes. Okay, got it. Okay.
Decades. Thanks for joining us as we continue to follow this breaking story. I'm Zaina Halliburton. Tonight, the leader of the House of Prayer, Rony Denis, is in custody, connected to an FBI raid on his mansion in the Westlake neighborhood.
Clarifying that for us, hon. Thank you.
His charges include conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and aiding and assisting in filing a false tax return.
So it sounds like the church, this particular church, House of Prayer, not to be confused with the International House of Prayer, for all people, maybe had some sort of educational program. They had some sort of Bible college, and she's saying that they specifically targeted veterans to use their VA benefits to pay for school. And I don't know what happened, but yeah, the lady said after 9 years nothing ever happened. So let's we'll finish this one up and then we'll read a little bit more.
We're told Rony Denis isn't even his real name, but an identity he stole in 1983, according to federal authorities. The U.S. Department of Justice says Denis is one of 8 House of Prayer leaders charged in
definitely a target if someone is impressionable or somebody, you know, if someone's looking for something to do and it seems like something, I don't know. They really don't know his real name because on the indictment, it's FNU LNU, which is first name unknown, last name unknown. I have a funny story about, because I was like, you guys know I worked in HR for years. The first time I ever came in, the FNU LNU ever came to my awareness was there was a guy, I can't remember where he was from, but he was from like a South Asian, he was from an Asian country, and he had one name. He did not have like a surname. He had a name, and that was his name. That was, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even ask me to explain it. He had a name and he put that as his first name, and then it was FNU LNU, and I was like, let's just say he said his name was Muhammad, and I was like, oh, Muhammad Fanu and something Lanu. I thought it was Fanu Lanu, and one of the guys that I worked with, he was like, no, that's first name. I did not know that that was what FNU LNU meant. I had no idea. So I was over there like, oh, his name is Fanu Lanu. And I had no idea. Look, let me tell you something. When you deal with a lot of people and people, you know, you work for a large enough company. I've worked for some pretty large companies, and you will have people from all over the world. You know what I mean? And you may have someone in your department and you guys call him Joseph. You may not know Joseph's name that's on their paperwork. There's people that come to, you know, they immigrant to United States. They may change their names. They may have like their American name. I didn't know. I really did not make, I didn't want to make a, you know, I just didn't want to assume. I was like, Fanu. I had no idea. I mean, I've seen some interesting names in my life. So, and I'm sure you guys all have too, but maybe I've seen more. I had no idea that that's what that meant, but now I know what that means. I mean, you know, this was a long time ago, but it was funny because I did not know then. I was like, Fanu. Fanu. And of course, like the person was not answering, and he's like, friend, that means first name unknown. And it was really the name that he put ahead of that was his actual name, and he did not have a last name. The culture that he came from, I wouldn't say the country, but in his culture, you had one name and that was it. So I had, you know what I mean? So anyway. Enough of that.
Fraud schemes and tax charges. In the meantime, your Liz Owens is live for us in the newsroom. Liz,
Girl,
just
she
in the
looks
last few hours,
scared.
you got your hands on Denis's indictment. What new details do you have for us?
Well, according to the indictment, 8 church leaders committed these crimes by targeting military members and exploiting them for their benefits. The indictment also describes cult-like behavior, arranging marriages and divorces, humiliating members they perceived as rule breakers, and prohibiting family members from talking to loved ones who left the church.
A 7-bedroom, 8-bathroom estate listing price $1.96 million, raided by the FBI Wednesday morning. The mansion on Honors Way is located in the gated community of Westlake. Divorce documents tie the name Rony Denis to this address. According to an indictment just unsealed by the feds, the leader of House of Prayer stole the name in 1983 and used it to become an American citizen in 2002. The same year, he founded the House of Prayer Christian Churches of America. You might remember that the feds raided several of the churches in 2022, including the church in Hetzibah. Fast forward 2 years, and now Denis, along with 7 other leaders of the religious organization, are named in an indictment which accuses them of exploiting military personnel by recruiting them into the church, directing them to enroll in the church's seminary, and then using their VA benefits to funnel money into accounts controlled by the church. The indictment goes on to describe how leaders maintained a list of ex-traitors humiliated members for perceived rule violations, and how the leaders restricted family members from contacting their loved ones who left the church. The feds say the 8 also committed bank fraud by using straw buyers to seize homes, which they then converted into rental properties, collecting more than $5 million in rent in just 2 years.
So all those named in the indictment could face up to 20 years, maybe more, in prison. That's if they're found guilty. The FBI has been pretty quiet about the whole thing, but they are holding a news conference tomorrow. We expect to learn a lot more then, and we'll be there and bring you the latest.
Thanks for following this for us, Liz, from start to end and continuing into tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, I think that might be.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Dawn Baker.
And I'm Mike Seelam. We begin
That'd be the last one.
with some breaking news coverage near Augusta, where the FBI says they have arrested the leader of the House of Prayer. This comes after 8 people were indicted on fraud and identity theft charges targeting veterans.
WTOC's Cam McCann is in the 24-hour newsroom with more. Cam, what is the latest?
Well, Don, the newest piece of information in this story is this unsealed indictment. Now, this was unsealed today, just a couple hours after the raid. It alleges that the founder of the House of Prayer is using a stolen identity as his own. Right now, the man authorities say is Rony Denis is in the Jefferson County Jail. Now, the raid happened at a mansion in the unincorporated community of Martinez, just outside of Augusta, like you said. The FBI could only confirm that authorities were conducting court-authorized activities there. Now, the House of Prayer has been heavily targeted by the federal government and critics who say it's nothing but a scam, possibly a cult meant to siphon veteran benefits from the federal government. Denis founded the church in 2002 in Louisiana and later moved the headquarters to Hinesville, Georgia. It ultimately opened about a dozen locations, and some of these, including the one in Hinesville, were raided 3 years.
And I mean, maybe he was also intending to be deceptive too, because the International House of Prayer for All People is an established entity. And you know what I mean? Like maybe he wanted to play off that name and reputation, because the people that I knew were quite, quite devout. They spent a lot of time in their church. I don't know. They were good people. I don't know a lot about the church, but you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. All of a sudden you start a whole church and use another organization's name with like a minor tweak, and then it's been problems ever since. So I wonder if they were trying to play off of that.
Ago by the FBI for suspected fraud of VA benefits. Many church
Girl,
members didn't know where Denis had vanished to after the raids, some thinking he might have left the country. Well, now he's in jail and is one of 8 House of Prayer leaders facing indictments from federal court.
Martinez
Now, a press release
instead of
we
Martinez
received from court included names, ages, and locations of these 8 leaders. And the indictment further describes how leaders maintained a list of ex-HOPCC traitors, so House traitors, humiliated members for perceived rule violations, and restricted contact with family members who had left the church. And we're still learning more about this as it unfolds, but we will keep you up to date on the latest.
They're not letting anything get by. The world today, baby, you better have your T's crossed and I's dotted. They're coming for you. If you out here trying to make waves and you have a hidden agenda, they're going to come and it's going to be a problem.
Newsroom, Cam McCann, WTOC News.
WTOC Investigates has followed the investigation involving House of Prayer. You can take a look at all of our past coverage by going to our website, WTOC.com. Just look for the story under the Investigates tab.
Okay, WTOC. Okay. Let me see. I feel like we've... Okay, do you guys all right, let's go over here really quick. I just have to pull this back up again. There's something else weird going on, but I have to pull all of that up. Hold on. Wait a second. Did she take her videos down? Hold on. Okay. Okay, here we are. Okay. All right. So House of Prayer Christian Church pastor indicted for enticement and sexual abuse of a minor. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Is this the one? Hold on. House of Prayer. Okay. September 11th, 2025. So yeah, let's go to this one first. Girl, that was on the 11th. This was on the 10th. In Augusta, 8 members of the House of Prayer Christian Church indicted for fraud, schemes, and operation. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Okay, so Augusta, Georgia, the federal grand jury presiding over the Southern District of Georgia indicted 8 individuals connected to the House of Prayer Christian Church of America for various fraud schemes. So Fanu Lanau, first name unknown, last name unknown, aka Rony Denis. Age unknown, Hinesville, Georgia, West Palm Beach, Martinez, Georgia, with conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, aiding and assisting the filing of false tax returns. Anthony Olans of Hinesville, conspiracy to commit bank fraud and bank fraud. Joseph Fryer, 51, Hinesville, conspiracy to commit bank fraud. All of these are like financial crimes. All of these are bank fraud and wire fraud. Dennis Nostrand, Gerard Robertson, David Riep, Marcus Labat, and Omar Garcia. Maximum penalties for conspiracy to commit bank fraud and bank fraud are up to 30 years imprisonment, up to a $1 million fine, and not more than 5 years supervised release. Maximum penalty for conspiracy to commit wire fraud and wire fraud is 20 years, up to $250,000. Maximum for aiding and assisting filing false tax returns, 3 years, up to $250,000. According to the indictment, the group's leader posed as Rony Denis, an identity he was alleged to have stolen in 1983. Using that identity, he became a U.S. citizen in 2002, went and established the House of Prayer CC and its affiliate House of Prayer Bible Seminary. The indictment alleges that Denis and those close associates, Anthony Olens, Joseph Fryer, Dennis Nostrin, Gerald Robertson, David Riep, Marcus Labat, and Omar Garcia, used their leadership positions to exert extreme control over congregants. The indictment alleges that the members were manipulated into turning over personal information, pressured into marriages, divorces arranged by church leaders, and forced to live in properties tied to the defendants that generated rental income. The defendants were also accused of exploiting military personnel by recruiting them into the church, directing them to enroll into HOPBS, so the Bible study school, then using their Veterans Administration benefits to funnel money into the church-controlled accounts. Leaders allegedly disguised payouts to themselves as expense reimbursements, love offerings, and similar terms, while also using fraudulently gained funds to pay credit card bills from the defendants. The indictment further describes how leaders maintained a list of ex-HOPCC traitors, humiliated members for perceived rule violations, restricted contact with members who left the church. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is looking into additional victims. Let me see what you guys were saying. Oh, so it's like a prime. It's prime over there because you have a lot. I mean, you have people who exit the service and they want to have something to do. Also, you got people who love the Lord and people who may think that they want to pursue a deeper study into seminary. So yeah, it's kind of like it's a target. They're a target for a couple of different reasons because they love the Lord and also they have the money and they're taking advantage. That's really a terrible scam. It's a terrible scam. According to the indictment, that don't make no sense. Not according to the FBI. According to the indictment in 2004 until present, defendants Rony, I'm just going to use their first names, Rony, Anthony, Joseph, Dennis, Gerald, and David, along with others, engaged in a long-running conspiracy to defraud financial institutions. The defendants allegedly recruited members of their organization to serve as straw buyers. Okay. In real estate transactions, concealing the true buyer identity. They falsified loan applications, closing documents, used forged powers of attorney, and created limited liability corporations to acquire and transfer properties after seizing. So they were kind of washing money. They were using this illegally obtained money. They used straw buyers. Then they would transfer the ownership back and probably give them a little something in their pocket, or let them live in it and then pay them some rent back. After seizing control of these properties, they convert them into rental homes. That's it right there, collecting more than 5.2 million in rental income so they collected 5.2 million in rental income, but they also owned and purchased those properties, and they probably collected they probably filed tax returns based on using those properties as tax write-offs as well. So funds from the scheme were allegedly used to pay mortgages on the properties, cover personal expenses, and benefit members in the conspiracy, while leaving some of the straw buyers with damaged credit. So they would turn over the property to them and then they would be stuck with a mortgage in their name. Is that what we're doing? So people would buy it, they would give them some money, make them get a mortgage, transfer the property, and leave them with the house note. I know they weren't doing that. We might have to really read the indictment. I wasn't going to read the whole thing, but my God, this is a mess. I don't know. You wonder who went to the FBI about it? It could have been somebody nosy, a nosy neighbor. It could have been some bad tax work. It probably crossed somebody's, oh God. It probably crossed someone's radar and they started investigating. Hold on a second, guys. I hate when random people come to the door. They disturb my dogs. My dogs are sleeping. You know, it's like I don't the last thing I'm doing is waiting for someone to knock on my door to offer me like a new security system or more cable or windows or a roof. It's like, can't you see we have a brand new roof? Some people are shisty like that, Cherie. I mean, believe it or not, there are people who come up with the cons. I don't know that necessarily have to be trained, but some people, they may have an idea and then they have other people like, okay, if I wanted to do this, how, like, you know, I see what you're saying, but girl, he may be all brains in anything illegal. You never know. I'm a veteran. I got my associate's degree through the VA. You'd be surprised how colleges and training program. Yeah, of course they're going to come after money. If they know that the money is there, they're going to come for you. They're going to try to encourage you to use that money because it doesn't come out of your pocket. And it's if you don't use it, you lose it, type of thing. So I mean, if it's a reputable organization, that's great. But if it's not, and they're just trying to get your money, you see that? It's like, my God, now it sounds like I'm at the damn doggy daycare. Okay. Which I am. Someone connected the patterns. Yes. College is a business. It really is. Absolutely. But most of the time, you're going to get what you pay for. If you go to a reputable institution, you're going to get what you pay for. There are some, I don't even know what to call them. I don't even want to call them a school, but there are some establishments that are supposed to be in the business of educating people, and they don't. They might have. They might have. They might have. If they had people, if they were targeting people to buy homes and then run them back to the church, it's possible. I mean, we can read the indictment. I mean, the indictment probably has it all. It's 41 pages. So I'm quite sure there's more to this. We can get into it. And let me just finish this. Well, let's see. We may as well just jump into this because that was the synopsis of this, but this is the 41-page indictment. We can go run through it and see how far we get. This should tell us everything we need to know. Let's see. This is too big. Okay, can you guys see? Okay. Let's see. So these are, look, there's Fanu Lanu, aka Rony Denis, and then all of his cohorts. Okay. They say as early as July 29th, 1983, Fanu Lanu, first name unknown, last name unknown, stole the identity of Rony Denis. I would like to know who Rony Denis is. Maybe we're gonna find out. Fanu Lanu, aka Rony Denis, married a U.S. citizen in 1988. In 2001, using a stolen identity of Rony Denis. Is Rony Denis dead somewhere? Applied for United States citizenship, which was granted in 2002. Since on or about July 29th, 1983, he presented himself as Rony Denis, and his true identity remains unknown. In this indictment, he will be referred to as Denis, as he has been known since July 29th, 1983. And during the time relevant to this indictment, Denis resided at various locations, including Hinesville, Georgia, Martinez, Georgia, West Palm Beach, Florida. Denis was one of the founders of the House of Prayer of Christian Churches of America and was identified as pastor of HOPCC and helper Denis. Okay. Defendant Anthony Olens resides in Hinesville, Georgia. Olens, executive assistant. What was that noise? Did I just get an alert for something? Okay. Hold on a second, guys. Let me put myself. Fanu Lanu. Yeah, Fanu. We can call him Fanu. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Let me fix myself. I get super distracted if it's not sitting right, as I'm sure you guys know. Hold on. Okay, let me get back. Okay. Olens is in Hinesville, Georgia. He's the executive assistant to. So they're laying out who everybody is. Joseph Fryer, Hinesville, Georgia. Fryer was a volunteer minister at HOPCC. Defendant Nostrin Denis. Nostrin acted as a bookkeeper for various entities associated with HOPCC and was a volunteer minister at HOPCC located in Hinesville, Georgia. Defendant Jared Robertson held a position as director and chief executive officer of the House of Prayer Bible Seminary located in Hinesville, Georgia. Robertson also a volunteer minister at HOPCC. Defendant David Reap resided in Hinesville, volunteer minister. Marcus Labatt was the controller. Oh, he's going down, definitely. And a school certifying official at HOPBS and volunteer minister at HOPCC. Defendant Omar Garcia resided at various times in Hinesville, Georgia. Garcia was a school certifying official for HOPBS. Garcia was identified as the registrar and volunteer minister. Prior to 2004, Denis recruited several members of the New Testament Christian Church to form the new organization, which became HOPCC. Denis and his followers established HOPCC site at approximately 10 to 12 locations in at least 5 states. The largest congregation was in Hinesville, Georgia, and had an average of approximately 200 to 300 attendees. Some congregations were small, as a few dozen. 2 of the locations were in Southern District of Georgia, one in Hinesville, Georgia, and one in Hetzibah. The HOPCC organization in Hetzibah was at some point renamed the Assembly of Prayer Christian Church, but will be referred to by its former name, HOPCC, in this indictment. Many of the HOPCC locations were established near United States military installations for easier recruitment and indoctrination of military members. Okay, so they definitely targeted military folks. Denis established HOPCC headquarters in Hinesville, Georgia, and maintained a core group of supporters. And you know what? If some of the members were ex-military, that probably made it easier for military folks to like, oh, it's a nice church. These are some people who can relate. They came from military service. They're in the, they are believers. They probably preyed upon the people, striking chords of familiarity and taking advantage of that. That's sad. Along with establishment of HOPCC, entities identified as Bible seminaries were set up in 5 locations. The 5 locations for HOPBS were Hinesville, Georgia, Hetzibah, Fayetteville, Killeen, Texas, and Tacoma, Washington. At times, the defendants received funds from bank accounts of the HOPCC and HOPBS, which were classified using various terms like expense reimbursement, ministerial love offering, automotive reimbursement, expense reimbursement, and offering and building fund. Oh, they went, living expenses were at times paid using American Express accounts opened in the name of an individual identified herein as MD. Denis, Olens, Fryer, Nostrand, Robertson, and Labat were authorized users on one or more of these accounts. Denis, Olens, Fryer, Nostrand, Robertson, Reeb, Garcia, and Labat exercised extreme control and manipulation over other members of the HOPCC and attendees of the HOPBS. As part of the control and manipulation of the HOPCC, members were directed by the leadership to attend Bible seminaries and use their military benefits to pay for attending. Robertson, Garcia, and Labat each participated in various operations of these seminaries. As part of the control and manipulations, Olens maintained dozens of HOPCC members' personally identifiable information, including driver's license, social securities, and use for the defendant's benefits. So they might have been over there applying for stuff that people didn't even know that they were getting. As part of the control and manipulations, defendants had some members sign non-disclosure agreements. As part of the control and manipulation, Denis at times arranged marriages and orchestrated divorces among HOPCC members. As part of control and manipulation, Denis and Olans directed HOPCC members to live in rental properties which were purchased using straw buyers, which generated rental income that flowed to defendants. As part of control and manipulation, HOPCC members were expected to attend the organization's gatherings, meetings, virtually daily on a daily basis, and were expected to receive permission if that person in authority received permission from a person in authority to include Denis or Robertson to be absent from each gathering and meeting. So you had to check in. As part of the control and manipulation, HOPCC members were directed by the church leadership to recruit military personnel to join HOPCC using a technique called soul winning. So they would go out and I bet you they were using some sort of like evangelist type technique, but meanwhile, really and truly, they were just trying to convert your dollars. They were trying to send people out like they were evangelists, but they were really recruiting to get your tithes and your school money. Okay, that's terrible, isn't it? Let me see what you guys are saying. Isn't that terrible? As part of the control and manipulation, HOPCC members were expected to report infractions and violations of established rules to HOPCC leadership and include Denis, Fryer, Nostrand, Robertson, Reeb, Garcia, and Labat. As part of the control and manipulation, HOPBS students would be counseled in writing for infractions of student conduct and include such things as texting a person of the opposite gender, wearing worldly or unbecoming attire, insubordination, defiance, and sowing discord and sedition. As part of the control and manipulation, Denis castigated and humiliated congregants both in private and in front of other members of the HOPCC for purported violations of the expected standards of conduct. As part of the control and manipulation, HOPCC members were expected not to have contact with former members, including family. For some former members' names were maintained on a list called ex-HOPCC traitors. Wow. Okay, this is the bank fraud scheme. Paragraphs 1 through 31 in this indictment were hereby re-alleged and incorporated herein as though set forth fully herein. Begin on date unknown to the grand jury, but as early as 2004 and continuing through the date of this indictment, the exact dates being unknown in the Southern District of Georgia and elsewhere, the defendants, Fanu Lanu, Rony Denis, Anthony Olens, Joseph Fryer, Dennis Nostrand, Gerald Robertson, and David Riep, and other conspirators known and unknown, did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and others, known and unknown, to commit bank fraud, that is, to knowingly execute and attempt to execute the below scheme and artifice to defraud, and to obtain money, funds, assets, securities, and other property owned by and under the custody and control of financial institutions defined under Title 18. United States Code section, by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representation, and premises in violation of Title 18, United States Code section 1344. The object of the scheme and artifice is to defraud the defendant and their co-conspirators to unlawfully enrich themselves by fraudulently obtaining funds, money, property under the custody and control of financial institutions by making materially false representations. The manner and the means utilized by the defendants is to accomplish the object of the scheme and artifice to defraud included, but were not limited to, Dennis Olens, who direct members of the HOPCC to act as straw buyers in residential real estate transactions to conceal the true buyers' identities. These transactions were not arm's length transactions and involved Dennis, Olens, Fryer, Nostrand, Robertson, and Reep as buyers, sellers, notaries, power of attorneys in the transactions. The straw buyers would be required to execute loan documents. They made these people take out loans, y'all. The straw buyers would be required to execute. So they probably were doing FIA loans, Miss Principal. The straw buyers would be required to execute loan documents which the defendants knew contained false information to obtain mortgages from financial institutions for the purpose of these properties. After the closing, the defendants would seize control of the properties and convert them into rental properties. The defendants would direct the members of HOPCC to live in the properties and would collect rent. Do you imagine? Hold up. Do you imagine your church convincing you to buy a house? You get a mortgage, and you get a mortgage. Then you turn over the property, you sign it over, and then they want to collect some rent. So you're paying rent and a mortgage. How does that work? It's about time. Hey, boo. How does that work? How would they do that? That's crazy, right? That is crazy. That's sad. They were really taking advantage of people. That's crazy. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Am I back? Okay, hold on. The mortgages obtained in these names of the straw buyers would be paid using bank accounts in the names of governors, management. The mortgages obtained in. So I wonder, let me say this. I wonder, so they would make people buy them. They would have a mortgage. So let's hear what they say. The mortgages obtained in the names of the straw buyers would be paid using bank accounts in the names of governors, management, Centex Management, Centex Services, Prudential Realty, among others, which were collected by Olens, Nostrand, and Reep, and sometimes a combination of the defendants. So I wonder if instead of paying a mortgage, they were having them pay rent. I don't know. It's weird. Olins would create POAs, which would be used. Are you messing with the fireplace? Hold on a second. I think he was over there playing with the fireplace, y'all. He better not mess with that fireplace. Okay. Sometimes a combination of these defendants, Olins would create POAs that would be used by the defendants to buy, sell, and transfer properties that had been purchased using straw buyers. Olins sometimes maintain the POAs for years for future use. Olins, Nostrand, Fryer, Reap, and Robertson would also create fraudulent POAs by foregoing signatures and falsely notarizing the same, which were then used to buy and sell transfer properties that had been purchased using straw buyers. The defendants would establish a limited liability corporation, after which they would transfer the property into them using the POAs and quit claim deeds. You know all about that, Sonia, right? Some of these transfers were unknown and unauthorized by the mortgage lender. The defendants intended to conceal ownership of the properties by using LLCs. Members or registered agents of the LLC used for this purpose included Olins, Nostrand, and Fryer. At times, after the initial mortgage loans, Olins would impersonate the straw buyers to induce lenders to grant loan modifications or forbearance. He was up there ruining people's credit. In some instances, defendants allowed the mortgages held in the names of the straw buyers to go into default or foreclosure, thereby harming the straw buyers' credit. Between 2018 and 2020, the defendants collected rent payments totaling $5,200,000. These payments were deposited primarily into accounts for Governor's Management and Prudential Realty. Records in the Georgia Secretary. So it kind of sounds like to me, I hate to bring Sonia into this, but you know how Sonia had that house? So Miss Janice and the dad had the house, and they transferred ownership to Sonia. Sonia has some sort of note on the house. Sonia has the note. Miss Janice actually owns the property, and there's a problem there. It's just it's weird. Like how they have the mortgages in the person who's defrauded's name, but the person doesn't even maintain ownership. Like they transferred over the deed. See, where this comes into play is because contrary to what people think, because you have a mortgage, people run with this narrative that you don't own your home. You own your home. The banks have liens on your home. So you have a deed. You have a deed to your house. Your bank institution is the first lien holder if you still have a mortgage, right? So you can, in theory, transfer ownership to someone and still be paying a note on it. You could buy a house for your kids, your son and his wife or whatever, and hand them the deed, and you're carrying the mortgage. Now that's not smart, because if something were to happen, there's many reasons why, if you are fiduciary, you're responsible for the payments, that you would not want to not have your name on the property. But people, like in theory, you could give somebody something and be responsible to pay for the note. And that's what this sounds like. And it sounds like they were also using people's credit without their permission for longer than they actually had permission. But the people also probably were not aware that this was what was going to happen. Acts in furtherance of the scheme, the furtherance of the conspiracy to effectuate the object, therefore, of the defendants committed the below list of acts, among others. Straw purchase. Oh, they're going to go into a lot of addresses. I can't show this. Okay. I mean, this is very intricate. This is kind of crazy. This is very crazy. Snuck in for a few minutes on my lunch. Okay, hold on a second. Let me we'll get back into this. If you guys want to get back into it, we can, but that's what's going on. That's the latest church scam. We didn't finish the whole entire document, but you guys know, look, it's some foolishness going on. They're messing with people's credit. They're messing with people's money. They are messing with the VA, the education money set aside for VA for our veterans, and also probably taking advantage of these VA loans and all of these things. It's horrible out here destroying lives. Okay. But now they're going to be and living in big old houses. You got someone paying you rent and you're living in 10-15,000 square feet. Awful. Let me check before we get off of here and see if anything. I did check the docket first thing, like early this morning. Let's see if anything happened since we anything noteworthy. Let's see what's going on here. I need to quiet these dogs down. Let's see. I think they're getting ready to. They're probably tired. Don't come over here. Nothing. You know, they're not gonna. You know how Judge Dunaway does. Judge Dunaway, it takes his time. Okay. Judge Dunaway is not in a rush for anything or anyone. Okay. He is not in a rush at all. Okay. Did they do anything with this? Nope. Yeah, nothing has happened. Okay. Oh, I thought I was showing the screen. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, you guys. Yeah, nothing. This is sad for those who have anything in their name. Isn't it awful? There's always someone, hey, Bougie Gang, snuck in for a few minutes on my lunch. Okay. I feel like I read that one already. My bad. I wonder if one of them were in the mortgage business. I don't know. Because yeah, who was doing the loans? Like what banks were they going to? Who, well, look, they could have been using any bank because it didn't really matter because if the person had the credit and the person had the bill, if they had a what do you call it? They meet the qualification because they're a veteran. I don't think if someone could get a kickback because they did loans, that would probably be even better. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That if someone was a mortgage broker, they were covering all sides. That is a huge freaking scam. I'm surprised. I think on top of everything, guys, with the 5.2 million in rental income, I feel like I saw something about 23. That's the part we didn't get to. Let's see. 23.5 million. According to the indictment, the defendants fraudulently obtained religious exemption from the state regulators in Georgia to operate 2 of the 5 locations of HOPBS. This exemption required that Georgia seminaries not receive federal funds. Nevertheless, the Georgia HOPS applied for and accepted VA education benefits, making it eligible to maintain the exemption. HOPBS received more than $3 million in educational benefits for its Georgia locations and more than $23.5 million for all other locations. From 2013 through 2021, HOPBS officers fraudulently submitted false certifications to Georgia regulators that claimed the seminary did not receive bank funds despite receiving millions in VA payments each year. The scheme funneled funding from VA education benefits to its seminary and related church accounts, enriching the defendants while exhausting some veterans' benefits, often without students completing their programs. You saw the one lady said she was in there for 9 years. 9 years. That's crazy, right? Hold on a second. The state of Georgia needs to come to the front of the class. There's just some real shisty shysters out here. Isn't that awful? It's awful, right? How was this not caught? They've had to have it under investigation. They may have had people who didn't want to talk. Like they probably saw something, but they weren't sure. You know, it takes you need somebody to come forward to spit the game. You know what I'm saying? You might know something is going wrong or somebody. It's civil. It's, you know, people could be like, it's civil. You signed over your house to your church. It's civil. It's civil. You know what I mean? It's civil. Hold on one second. Let me tell you about this other lady since we're talking about scammers right now. Y'all, this lady is on the run. Hold on. She is on the run. Okay. If you see her, this is also kind of a little bit of a public service. If you see her, be careful because they're saying that she is dangerous. Hold on. Let me find. Hold on. I'm like, you don't even have to put a disclaimer out. I'm not doing nothing. Okay. I'm not doing nothing. You don't have to worry about me at all. Okay. Let me see. They said she might have gone back to, she may be in Jamaica. I'm not sure, but hold on.
FBI is asking for your help in finding a Palm Beach County woman they
FBI wants your help, but not Bougie Gang. Don't get yourself tangled up in this because this is some mess, okay? This is some mess.
Tonight, the FBI is asking for your help in finding a Palm Beach County woman they say was involved in a multi-million-dollar COVID fraud scheme. Take a look. This is Elaine Escoe. She's now considered a fugitive. Escoe is now accused of stealing $34 million in COVID-19 relief money.
Yo, you heard that. 34 million. 34 million. And look at her wig. It's like, sis, you're out here stealing $34 million and look at your wig. What's going on? How in the world are you not laid like Keisha Kior? You should have yours. You should be out here like Keisha Kior. It should be flat. You can go to the moon with $34 million, right? Okay, let's listen to the story.
CBS 12's Antoinette Delbel joins us live from the federal courthouse in West Palm Beach and has more on what to do if you've seen her. Annie?
Mind your business. I'm going to just say, she might be dangerous. Leave her alone. If she stole $34 million, what to do if you see her? Leave her alone.
Well, Liz, federal agents say Escoe has been on the run since June after she didn't show up to court here. Now, she was indicted just months after.
So let me just say this. $34 million. She was indicted. They let her leave. She's not a flight risk. Okay. She met the Ayala factors or did not meet the Ayala factors. They let her out, right? And you guys thought, and this was the second scheme she's done. I'm going to pull it up in a second so you guys can hear the deal, but she'd already done this once before. then came back and did it again. And then y'all are surprised because there's about a lot of people getting ready to lose their jobs, okay?
You're getting out of jail.
On what to do if you've seen her, Annie?
Nothing. Don't do a thing.
Well, Liz, federal agents say Escoe has been on the run since June after she didn't show up to court here. Now, she was indicted just months after getting out of jail earlier this year on similar charges for wire fraud. 40-year-old Elaine Escoe, seen here smiling with family and friends, is wanted by the FBI. The fugitive, who also went by the alias Annie Palmer, is accused of pocketing COVID relief money totaling $34 million. Federal agents say she and others were part of an elaborate scheme involving wire fraud and money laundering. The indictment claims Escoe submitted more than 90 applications for PPP and other COVID relief programs by using false information about employee numbers, payrolls, and revenue over an 18-month span in 2020. And it says Escoe was considered the ringleader.
This case involving multiple co-conspirators and 90 or so applications with 34 million, that is a much larger number and a much more complicated and complex kind of allegation than most PPP cases.
Defense lawyer David Taras has handled many cases like this. He says the COVID-19 money was meant to help those hit hard by the pandemic, not to be misused for personal gain.
A lot of people were really hurt. People were dying during COVID, and those people maybe could have used that money to keep their businesses alive. That money wasn't available.
Now, Escoe has tattoos on her left wrist, her stomach, her shoulder, her back. Federal agents believe she could be in Jamaica, where she's originally from. If you've seen her or know where she might be, call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Live in West Palm Beach, Antoinette Delbel, CBS 12 News.
They got to be out of their mind. Nobody's doing that. I'm sorry. Let me tell you, especially when you got someone, have you ever met anybody who has their own wanted poster? You know what I'm saying? This chick got a whole wanted poster, wanted by the FBI. Nobody's confronting her for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, this chick, come on now. Caution. Elaine Escoe is wanted for her alleged involvement in a conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering in connection with a scheme to fraudulently obtain $34 million in federal COVID relief funds. Escoe and others allegedly submitted more than 90 fraudulent applications for funds for Paycheck Protection Program, economic injury, disaster loans, restaurant revitalization, shuttered venue operators, grants. Between May 2020 and November 2021, the applications allegedly contained false information regarding employee counts, payroll expenses, and business revenues. The scheme resulted in wrongful disbursement of approximately $29.1 million in PPP funds, $1.2 million in RRF funds, $3.8 million SVOG funds, and other funds were dispersed. Escoe and others allegedly directed payments to each other and to businesses they controlled, withdrew large sums of cash, used blank signed checks to conceal the origin and the nature of the proceeds. The federal arrest warrant was issued May 22nd, 2025. The Federal District Court, Southern District of Florida, West Palm Beach. Let me go over here. And yeah, should be considered a flight risk. They should have thought about that when they let her out. But this is ma'am right here. Okay. Playing in folk faces. Hold on a second. Let me find something else. Oh, hold on that. I'm like, somebody needs to lose their job because ma'am was right there in their face and they basically just let her go. She was already convicted. Hold, let me find the other one, because this one, she was already convicted of a similar crime on May 22. A Fort Lauderdale jury convicted Elaine Escoe, 39, of Delray Beach, Florida, of wire fraud after submitting altered bank statements in an attempt to fraudulently obtain a line of credit for her business. Escoe submitted altered. I think some people are just addicted to the crime, because, lady, if you already made off with 34 million, what else do you need? Like, didn't you get enough money? Aren't you tired? Escoe submitted altered bank statements in support of an application for a business line of credit, and altered bank statements obscured the true name of the bank account along with an inflated cash balance. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for August 14th. This was of 2024. U.S. District Court Melissa Damian. Escoe faces up to 20 years in prison. The federal district court judge will determine the sentence after considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and statutory factors. I don't know what happened, but hold on a second. Let me pull up this other one, because ma'am got into a second scheme. So this was the case where she was submitting the fraudulent loan application. Now she also has the PPP and all of that. And so this is her second similar case, and she's gone. She disappeared. All right, let me see if I can find it. Somebody should really, like, it's ridiculous. Okay, here we go. So that was the one I just read for 2024. Catch this. Catch this tea. Elaine Escoe, Alfred Davis, Gino Jordan, Cher Davis, LaToya Clark, and James McGraw, 69, have been indicted with conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering in connection with a scheme to fraudulently obtain $34 million in COVID relief funds. She had just got convicted by the feds the year before and was awaiting sentencing. If they would have put her in jail in a timely manner, maybe this wouldn't have even happened. But clearly that didn't happen. According to the allegations in the indictment, from May 2020 to November 21, the defendant conspired to submit 90 false and fraudulent applications for funds under the PPP, economic injury, the EIDL. We already read this. The RRF and shuttered venue operators grant. The applications allegedly contain materially false representations regarding employee counts, payroll expenses, business revenues. In support of applications, the defendants were alleged to have submitted falsified IRS documents and fabricated bank statements. The indictment alleges that the scheme resulted in wrongful disbursement of 29.1 PPP, 1.2 RRF, 3.8 SVOG, and other funds were dispersed. The defendants allegedly directed payments to each other. We read that part. Each of the 6 defendants is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. Each defendant also faces multiple substantive counts of wire fraud, engaging in monetary transactions involving criminally derived property. If convicted, the defendants face up to 20 years. But this is her second case, and now she's on the run. She was supposed to already be sentenced. She was found guilty in the first case. This is the second case, y'all. If convicted, the defendant faces up to 20 years in prison on each wire fraud charge and up to 10 years in prison for each money laundering. The federal district court judge will determine any sentence after considering. She's on the FBI wanted. This isn't even just, oh, she got indicted. She's most wanted. She fled. I'm not sure how she gave them the slip. Oh, it was, she didn't show up for court. So they put her, now she's most wanted. A federal district court judge will determine the sentence after considering U.S. sentencing guidelines. U.S. Attorney Hayden O'Brien, Southern District, Florida. Acting Special Agent Charles Brent Skiles, FBI Miami. Acting Special Agent in charge Jose Figueroa of Homeland Security. Miami made the announcement. FBI Miami West Palm Beach residency agency investigated the case. HSI Miami assisted in the investigation. It doesn't matter who all did this. How did she give y'all the slip? An indictment is a mere allegation. Okay, so I'm just wondering why they let her out to be on the honor system to come back, and then now y'all got her on a poster. Oh, she took Donna Adelson needed to know her because baby, she's a whole flight risk. If you have any information concerning this person, please contact the FBI toll free. You may contact the FBI office or the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip on tips.fbi.gov. Ooh. Ooh. You don't have to say a word. She was last seen June 3rd, 2025 in Palm Beach. Anybody down in South Florida? Any of my Florida people? Baby, if you see this lady, leave her alone. She's got deep pockets and clearly she doesn't want to go in. Her name, they call her, look at her alias name. They call her Annie. Look at her name. If someone has fake names, leave them alone. They call her Annie Palmer, okay? Girl. They call her Annie Palmer. And they said she might be back in Jamaica. She might be right here and we don't even know it. Annie, are you okay? Stop it, Justin's mom. Oh. Well, if you see Annie, aka Elaine Escoe, leave her alone, okay? Don't bother her. Leave her alone, y'all, because she got plenty of money. Okay. Hold on, let me do something. Ooh. Oh, did that make a difference? Hold on a second. They're adding all kinds of little stuff. It made it some okay. Okay, StreamYard, I see you. Annie, are you okay? That was funny. Okay, guys. I'm not gonna hold y'all. This was fun. A fun little catch up, some little news you can use. Okay. I'm not. Let me tell you something. I don't even know that I would recognize Annie or Elaine. I don't know that I would even recognize her. Especially if she gets that wig laid right. I probably wouldn't even recognize her. She looks different. She looks different from here to here. Her two pictures. Sis, you are on an FBI wanted. Do you imagine? Oh, my heart would sink. But she looks different in the two pictures. But remember, these people who can change their look, like Erica King, you know how people, they look drastically different. I look the same. I look the same. You know what I mean? You know, some people, they look different. They put on a different wig. They take on a whole new face. Some of these people who are able, now you can see in her eyes it's the same person. Like her, I don't know. One picture may have better lighting. Like this one has like a white light. This one has softer lighting. So it's bringing out, I feel like, her more natural undertones. This is like a bright ass light and a very bad wig. So it's kind of hard. where she looks like two different people, but girl, these people who can mask their identities are dangerous people to me. Girl, smooth criminal. Okay, it's the Michael Jackson references, but you know what? I'm not mad because it's Virgo season and Mike was a Virgo. So RIP to the King of Pop. Okay. And it's Virgo season, and we can't forget Big Mike, not the little Mike, but big Michael Jackson. He did a lot, even, there were some suspect things, but we love Michael Jackson. Okay. Anywho, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to dip down into my description box and support our sponsor of today's program, our friends over at TTP Body. And go check out their website. Use code Bougie10 to get 10% off your order. And I guess I'll see you guys a little bit later. I might come back. I have a couple other interesting stories to talk about. So, yes, thank you, hun. I had a wonderful birthday. I had a beautiful birthday and I had so much fun. It's birthday all the time. You don't even have to do belated. I appreciate it, honey. Birthday is every day that I get to wake up is a birthday to me. So thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, honey, for dropping this is the website. Thank you, hun. I appreciate y'all. But yes, go visit our good sis. And support her business, okay? Sis is a supporter of things Bougie Gang and has been around for a long time and has, just like all of our many people who are here in the bushes who consume this content. We have lots of business owners and things of that nature. So I appreciate someone stepping forward to be a sponsor. So it's very sweet. And the products are very good. Looking forward to hearing more about. Girl. Absolutely. You're talking about from TTP? Okay, you guys. Child, she had enough money. That woman got enough money from all that PPP to be gone. She should be gone. You know what I mean? I don't advocate anything of what she did, but ma'am, if you're not gone, you're a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like all of like they're not law enforcement is not playing and they're going to use and make an example out of you. As you see in what's happened, they make examples out of everything anyway, but and we're going to see I think I'll tell you guys later in the week, but there's some court going on that I'm going to try to get to, so we'll see. I got to see how it goes. So I'll know more probably by Thursday if I'm going to be able to make it to court on Friday. Really? You don't trust the name Annie? Well, her real name is Elaine, but I guess she goes by Annie. She goes by Annie Palmer. Yes. I'll keep an eye on it, but her real name is Elaine Ungine or Angine Escoe, but she goes by Annie Palmer. And Justin's mom said, Annie, are you okay? And who said she's a smooth criminal? Dun, 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 dun. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, okay, you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a good afternoon. I might be back. Why not? Okay. But if there's anything that I need to talk about, anything you want me to know about, let me know. I think they did have a balloon vigil for Romika Meeks. I've been following the story. We hadn't talked about it because gosh, it was hard for me. It was hard for me to talk about that one. I felt really bad for her getting ambushed like that. But we might talk about it a little bit because they're in the process of laying her down to rest. But they had a beautiful balloon released for Romika Meeks. She was done really dirty by her baby daddy's new lady, and they're crazy, and it's awful. I hope that little boy does not have to go over to that man's house ever again because his new baby mom killed his mother, which is awful. Um, and then I've been looking into a story. It's actually happening here in North Carolina, but further north. There is a TikToker, baby. She stole someone's husband. Remember when Fantasia got sued for alienation of affection? So there's this TikToker. She's got like 2.5 million followers. Girl, she done stole somebody's husband. The wife is suing her for alienation of affection. But then turn around, ma'am says she's being cyber stalked by the TikToker. She got arrested, and baby, she's a mukbanger, and she is posting up Boothang on her channel like he's the prize. Okay. This is a guy who thinks he's the prize. He barely left his old house, and the ladies are fighting, going to court, getting arrested, all of the things. And this man goes and takes up. The funny thing is that the two ladies, from what I understand, actually were friends once upon a time. She literally, it's one of these where you could say, yes, if you were in a situation like this, it would literally be like, girl, she stole my husband. If any of you guys follow me on Love, Lies, and Lace Fronts and are familiar with how Creole Bay did Love by Erica, tried to make Love by Erica look crazy. Meanwhile, Creole Bay stole Damian Cryer out from underneath her, which no man can be stolen who doesn't want to be taken. But at the end of the day, crazy. Okay. Girl, he's disgusting. They're both, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be mean, but yeah, there's no wins over there. The lady, Miss Montague, she actually is winning. She needs to go on about her business and be grateful. I would be on my knees. You know what I'm saying? Man's rejection is God's protection. Okay. And don't forget about that. If he don't want you, sis, keep it pushing. But yeah, it's a legal case now. It's involving cyber stalking. It's a little sordid, but hey, we might get into that. So I was spending some time looking at that girl, and I went and watched their videos. I was like, y'all are trash. That might be some Love, Lies, and Lace Fronts. Anyway, instead of over here, unless they kill each other, and then we can definitely talk about over here. But I hope it doesn't come to that. I'm just saying. But girl, these days you don't know what people are gonna do. I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Make sure your notifications are set so that when I go live, post a video, do a community post, do all of everything, you will be notified. Okay. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.